Is the new Integra Type S worth the hype? We're showcasing the 2025 Acura Integra Type S in liquid carbon metallic over red. You're getting a discounted price compared to the Germans with a 0 to 60 around 5 seconds. 120 horsepower more than the regular Integra. I'm Anthony from Hawkeye Rides, and I'm going to touch bases on some pros and cons, compare this against the competition to see if the Type S Integra is worth the hype, starting with 4 inches of clearance when you go into the Type S. Otherwise, standard Integras are at 5.1 inches. With chicane LED daytime runnings, dual eye LED headlights that can figure into the Pentagon grille, and you're going to notice there's no surrounding to it, and it has a motion stance to it, so when you look at it at a stop still, it looks like it's still moving. The hood receives the air vent, flared out fenders. The lower gets the Type S treatment with the glossy black on the side curtain, front parking sensors, and underneath the hood, you're not getting the 1.5 liter turbo. You're getting a 2.0 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder VTEC producing 320 horsepower. Now, when you put that into content, you're literally about 2 seconds quicker than the standard Integra with 310 pound-feet of torque. That's paired only to a 6-speed manual gearbox, which means you're going to receive more engagement going here than the Germans and the G70. So when you're thinking, well, those vehicles are a little bit faster, they also are more money than this example here. Achieving 21 mpgs for the city, 28 mpgs for the highway, the Type S gets the adaptive damper system, a dual axle strut front suspension with a multi-link rear suspension, a lightweight single mass flywheel, with these 19-inch alloy wheels, Brembo brakes. Those red brake calipers house 4 pistons in the front, a single piston in the back. But when you go into Type S, you actually get the worst weight distribution. You're now at 62-38. And when you're putting this to content against the competition, is it worth the hype? Because of the discounted price that you get and the engagement, because you're not going to get that with BMW and Mercedes. They don't offer a manual in the M340i or even going into the C43 AMG. And the price to both of those are going to be a lot more. Front wheel drive is the only way you can option this though, whereas you can get an all-wheel drive configuration in every single vehicle, even going into the G70, which is kind of a sweet spot because it does slot a little bit underneath this in pricing. So going back to the question, is it worth the hype then? I like an engagement when I'm driving a vehicle. In paddle shifts, they do a good job, but there's nothing like 3 pedals to make the drive a lot more fun. And when you're considering it's in the low $50,000 price, you're getting a lot of vehicle. Because 120 horsepower, nearly 2 seconds quicker 0 to 60, I think it's worth the hype. Chicane LED taillights, trunk lid spoiler, and this is only configured in a hatch, which makes this a little bit more unique, because when you're competing against the competition, those are sedans, so you're getting better cargo here. Look at the rear exit with the triple exhaust that's exposed, the diffuser on the lower, active exhaust valves, 4 different driving modes, including individual, so you could tailor this to be a lot more sporty and a lot more soft for the everyday. 6 different colors for the exterior, 3 different interior colors, but the best part about this vehicle is it's a hatchback, so for practicality, you get that ticked right here, all in one package, and you still have the fun engagement, because when you go into the competition, you're going to be spending $5,000, $10,000, and $15,000 to get features. This only comes one way. And when you get the Type S, the treatment for the rear, the front, and the flared out fenders, it makes it look as aggressive as the competition. But is it worth the hype? To me, I think that they nailed it. I would like to see it maybe $5,000, $10,000 less. But as a total value, I could see where you're gonna capture that going against the competition. Quick release going into 23.4 cubic feet, and because it's a hatchback, you're gonna have a ton of space. You got a storage nook, LED lighting. The ELS Studio 3D sound comes into the rear. Underneath, you're gonna have a little bit of storage here. Unfortunately, you will have to go into the back in order to fold the seats down, but it's a hatch, so the 60-40 split is more than welcome, because look at the opening you have. But this is a Type S. We need to go inside, start it up, so you can hear that exhaust note. The key fob to the Type S Integra. 12-way power seat adjustment for the driver, manual seat adjustment for the passenger, heated front seats, leather wrapped seats with the ultra suede inserts. You'll have the red that comes through the perforated and the embossing Type S. 16 speakers through ELS Studio 3D sound with a 9-inch infotainment screen that sits on top of the dash. It's going to be a little bit more sporty, but it still carves out plenty of room for the passenger. I like the welcoming to the Type S and Acura. Let's fire it up. Heads-up display and the 9-inch wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, Sirius XM, AM, FM, streaming, Bluetooth audio. Put it into reverse, and we get a reverse camera. The trajectory does expand, and you have a little sub-menu down here that you can line it up for, I don't know why you would put it for towing, but if you need to. Dual climate control settings, a wireless charging pad, USB port, 12 volts. You're going to have the ultra suede around the 6-speed manual. Driving mode select on the gauge cluster. It's a digital reader. You got the Sport and the Sport Plus, and you also have the individual, which you'll just press and hold it. And now you can customize and make it as sport derived as you like. On the gauge cluster, you can go through an array of different content. It's a 10.2 informational display. You can also change out the whole layout, and it does it on both sides, including having the stopwatch and your phone settings. Leather wrap, perforated on the sides, contrast stitch in red, Type S, that's what you're getting. It's a multi-function 3-spoke steering wheel. It's going to be pushed back here where you're going to rest your arms, but it does a pretty decent job, and it's soft. It's going to be a little bit smaller here, but what I like about Integra is how they clean up this center dash just a little bit. Instead of having the honeycomb go all the way through, they just do it on the air vents. Legroom is more than enough. You got the Sport pedals. Same thing with headroom. There isn't any moonroof. LED interior lights. Door panel and dash configuring together nicely, and you have that aluminum mesh that comes into play here. One touch up and down for the front windows. It's going to be a little bit more sporty where you rest your arms with a medium-sized storage pocket. For the back seats, this is the opening that you have to fit 2 more. The door panel is going to have the same materials that's found in the front. I just don't like this piece here because it literally looks like it came out of the Civic. Soft, sporty here, a little bit smaller there. 2 cup holders in the center, no USB ports, no air vents, no storage behind the driver's seat, but you have plenty of leg room. You have storage behind the passenger seat, and headroom, it gets cut back pretty much right in here because you literally only have about a hand, I would say about 10 inches of carved out room to fit in the back, but it's a Type S. I'll let it slide. 320 horsepower, 310 pound-feet of torque. A little bit more engagement than BMW and Mercedes because we have a manual transmission. 0 to 60 is around 5 seconds, so it's good and it's playful. Now, one thing that you do have to throw into for comparison is the Honda Civic Type R. You're gonna lose 5 horsepower going that route, but the question that comes into play, would it be better just to option that or go into the luxury line of Acura? I would probably go up the level because the ride is actually going to be a little bit smoother in the Acura. Honda is going to be a little bit more rigid. You're going to hear a little bit more road noise coming in. And I mean, you get an extra 5 horsepower. So it just kind of gives you all the blend that you're looking for that practical yet sporty drive, because nowadays it's really hard to find an example around $50,000 to get everything that you're getting with this package. Now you have rev match, so the heel to toe is going to be a lot easy, but let's see the performance. Now, it's not a perfect 50-50 weight distribution, so I'm not going to go crazy here. By no means I want to go crazy and slide off the road. But this is what I mean by the fun. I mean, it literally unlocks the playfulness because of all the engagement that you're getting. It's going to take me to some pros and cons. Starting off with the pros, besides all the positive stuff that I have been saying, you only have to feature this one way. So it makes it a lot easier whenever you're going to purchase it, because when you go into the Germans, I mean, it starts off at a decent price. Don't get me wrong, you're in the $60,000 pricing, but it literally can go up to $70,000, $80,000 really quick, where that's not gonna be the case here. And it's the same thing for Genesis. That thing can top up to over 60 grand really fast. That's why this becomes that sweet spot deal. Hatchback, you still have plenty of room for 2 occupants in the back, plus a lot of cargo capacity. You don't sit too low to the ground, even though you only have 4 inches of clearance. So I kind of like that, because when I'm looking for an everyday sports car with luxury, you got a smoother suspension. It's not gonna feel as rigid as BMW. It's not gonna be as composed and comfortable as Mercedes or Audi. But the seat cushion itself is good. The bolstering, it hugs you, so if you are taking some bends in the road, you're giving it some performance, you're going to enjoy it. Going to some cons, only a front-wheel drive configuration. All the competition has 4-wheel drive options. A 9-inch infotainment screen that looks like it's glued onto the dashboard. There's a lot of hard materials found on the dash, on the top of the door card. And when you're going into this price and you're going against that competition, you have to just twist it up a little bit. It doesn't look like everything's sourced from Honda, but they could have added a little bit better materials through the interior of the cabin. Turn radius at a stop point. Let's rock and roll. And that's what I mean by the engagement. It is fun. You're not gonna get that with a lot of cars these days, and I really appreciate that Acura keeps that alive, because when you're putting that into content for an everyday vehicle, you can do this. And if you're concerned about the heel to toe, you got the Riv Match. It makes it a lot more seamless, so it's very hard to kill the vehicle. You're getting exceptional MPGs and enough performance to get you to light. Because let's face it, when you're at this price, you're not going on the track. You're going to have some fun with the vehicle, and this unlocks it. So is it worth the hype? I mean, I would say spending $10,000, $15,000 more on a car doesn't make sense when you're getting all the performance that you need here, plus the technology, and it's still a luxury car with a luxury warranty. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Check this next video out right here. And I'd like to thank our friends here at Regal Acura for giving us the Integra Type S.